guys, welcome back to the job site. Today what we're working on here is we're getting our plates laid out. So the first thing we do is we tack them down to the ground. As you can see, Ethan's doing here. We just run through, I've got 8s in the nail gun. We tack them down with that, holds them together, but it makes them nice and easy to pull apart when it actually comes time to frame. So he just runs the first one, then he runs the second plate, and then we can lay out both the top and bottom plates at the exact same time. I also love doing this method because then we can run it long and we can cut it right in place, and we know for a fact that the plates are going to line up perfectly. So plating this way makes it possible for us to lay out all of our interior walls at the same time. So what I do is I first go through and mark my ROs, what the door sizes are going to be, and then I come through with my tape, I mark the centers, and then I mark my corners and my king stud trimmer packs. Then I'll go through and I'll mark my 16 on centers, and those are just going to line up with my joists and with the studs in the exterior walls. This keeps open bays for the HVAC guys, plumbers, electricians, everything, and they'll always love you for it. I also like to use this square. It's called the universal square. Husky makes it, I just call it a layout square. But it basically can easily transfer your lines from the top of your plates onto the sides of the plates. And it's also 3.5 inches wide, so marking 2x4 channels is super easy. The last thing we do is we go through and number all of our plates. What's important to see is you see how I'm marking them, and I'm marking it on the floor in the same direction. So when we're standing walls, we can actually use that as a reference for the wall being the right direction.
So this is what a typical channel layout looks like for us. Now this is what we call a fish. This is an X, which means a normal stud. We always say the fish swims in the channel. So if you imagine this being a water channel, you'd have X, 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 and this would be where the water would go. That's where the fish would swim. Therefore, the fish swims in the channel, just like that. All right, you'll notice here, we've got a bunch of shiners here. The reason for that is the sheet on the outside breaks right here. That's where our seam is. The seams are always where you're most likely to get shiners, and the reason for that is the sheet breaks in half of the stud because another sheet has to break on the same stud. So you have half as much to nail into as usual. So since we already taped our seams, this poses a problem because we can't pull the nails through the tape. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to re-nail the seam shooting through the tape from the outside, and we'll have someone on the inside watching this to make sure the nails all hit. After that, we'll cut the nails that missed with a grinder so they don't look bad and poke the insulators and electricians while they're running wire. And then we'll tape a new layer of tape over the penetrated holes from the nails, so that way we still have our continuous water barrier. There you go, hit, hit. We'll zip it off inside. Is that long enough? All right, so you'll notice when we're rolling the tape, we're just using the rollers that Zip System makes. They have these little metal Z indenters on them. What that lets you do is when you're rolling the tape, it'll actually leave a slight imprint in the tape, which more easily shows for inspectors and warranty purposes that this was actually rolled and not just hand applied. This is a pressure activated adhesive, so it needs to be rolled all the way down. This is something that they incorporated that makes it much easier to identify and to confirm the quality of the product. All right, so we're about to start framing interior walls. We basically set all 4 of us up in each corner of the house. We're just gonna frame separate, and we'll kind of work our way towards the middle where we congregate at the end, and then we'll get them all stood and tied in with the double top plates.
So this is a way of thinking ahead. Since this wall is already on the ground, we got these little bump out walls that'll go right here. And we're just gonna nail them on right here, right now on the ground, so we don't have to hop on a ladder later. So what we're doing here is with our end studs, we're setting them back about a 1/16 to an 1/8 inch because if there's any imperfections in these studs, our plate to plate measurements really matter. So that's what we're gonna butt up against. And it's still enough backing for drywall. So.
All right, so you'll notice we have a bunch of interior walls already framed, but they're all just leaning out of the way. The reason we do this is it just leaves more of the floor space open so we can actually frame the walls. It's always easier to frame with more space, so we just get them all. We try to do it relatively in order, so that way when we're standing, we just pull from the front, and it just kind of helps everything go smoother. So walking the plates is an interesting thing, and it's a particularly necessary evil in my opinion. Although I can't say I think it's evil. I love it. But it's perfect for us. As we finished our double top, it's now time to start plumbing line. So what we're gonna do next is nail all our braces on the tops of the walls, and then we'll laser them down to the sill, make sure they're plumb, and nail them off.
Don't kill me!
All right, so this is a scenario. We have a dead space, which means we need to add fire blocking. The point of that is all the air from inside this cavity won't be going up inside the floor or roof system and allowing a potential fire to spread. So what we'll do is we'll add a layer of 3/4 plywood, which is thick enough that it won't allow the fire to burn through quick enough and meet the required ratings. So I'll throw a little ledger on either side, just a little more than 3/4 down. And then I've got a piece of plywood right here. Fits right in there. I can nail down to my new ledgers. And now any air won't get up in there, and we'll fire foam the gaps to seal it for good. All right, so now what we're doing is we're spreading around our brace material, leaning them up everywhere we want them to go. We'll go around the top plates and we'll nail them down to the tops of the walls, leaving the bottoms loose. We'll do that around the whole house. Then we'll hop down off the walls, pull out our lasers, and we'll plumb them and nail the bottoms. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we've got our brace nailed and ready to be shot at the bottom. The top is nailed off. I'm gonna set my laser here. We're actually pretty good. Let's see if I can't bring it in a little. I love it. Gorgeous. And just like that, we're gonna rinse and repeat that throughout the whole house. All right, so this exterior wall is plumb on both corners, which means now we need to line it. Troy's on the ladder, he's telling me it needs to come in a little bit. It's hard to pull with these braces, so what we do is I'll actually nail the bottom. You can't see it, but it's right under your feet. I want it to be nice and solid. So I put 4 nails into there. Is it moving?
Yeah,
Are we getting there, or does it need more than that?
it's pretty good.
Okay, so then what I can do is I can drop this wedge in the top. Tell me when.
That's
That's good. So I can literally just pull this, leave the brace up here with the wedge. I can tack a nail in my wedge, tack the wedge to the wall, and now that ain't going nowhere. So right here, we need to pull this wall in the middle, and it's mid-span, there's no adjoining walls, so there's not a lot to tie a brace into. So I'm gonna show you how to do a spring brace. All right, so right about here is the belly of where it bows out the most. So go ahead and nail up into the bottom of the double top. And I'll nail the bottom. It's just like the last brace. I nail it even though it's not plumb where we want it quite yet. I get a 2x4 in the middle, standing straight up. It is the exact same concept as the last one. More. So as I pull this 2x4, it's pulling the wall in up there. Even though it might stay there with friction, we tack a nail just to make sure it stays. The reason I like to put the brace on the underside of the top plates is this adds a bunch of tension upwards on either side. At least this way there's no chance of it pulling up and out of the wall. All right, this is another way of pulling a brace that I wanted to show. A sticker like this from a pallet of lumber is perfect. You can get a couple nails into your block at the bottom. You want to make sure you're at least plumb, if not leaning out this way. Same thing, 3 nails right there. That will let me push or pull the wall, either direction. Beautiful. All right, so with that, our walls are complete. They are plumbed and lined, and we are ready to start our roof and our partial second floor. So with that, once again, thank you to Huber for helping out with this video. You guys are awesome. We love you. That's why we use your stuff. And stay tuned for part 3, where we'll be doing the second floor and starting the roof.